The Honest Garage Podcast, where real shop owners tell real shop stories.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Honest Garage Podcast. I'm your host, David Laird, and today I've got with me Jake Clark from Faithful Service Auto in Colorado Springs, Colorado. How are you today, Jake?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. Really great to have you on the show. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Well, I'm excited to be on.
Cool, man. Well, I want to dive right in and kind of get us started with a question I like to start with everybody, and that's how'd you really get started in the industry? What was your path? How'd you get here? And then how did you get started with your company now?
Yes, I started out because I found out that I was really good at working on cars in my driveway, like any good teenager that got his first truck. I took everything I possibly could apart, put it back together, sometimes with success, sometimes not with success. And I had parents that helped guide me in a direction that was able to use those skill sets that I'd learned over the years and kind of guide me towards my career as an auto mechanic or an automotive technician. While I was in high school, there was a automotive shop. It's actually Elite Auto Service that one of the technicians or one of the owners was a kind of a mentor to me. So he had recommended that I go to Wyotech. And it's funny, my mom brought this letter up that I written in high school of like your future self. And it was, I had a Ford F-450, I had a Husky, and I owned my own auto shop. And it's something I written in high school. And I had always had these plans to start my own auto shop, but it finally came to fruition because my wife and I were bold enough to step out and actually make that decision.
And it sounds like with the business name there, stepping out might have had something to do maybe with Faithful Service Auto. Is that correct?
100%. So my wife and I had a job actually at Elite Auto Service. I had been bouncing around town just from some past stuff that I'd gone through with one of my managers, kind of lost trust in my managers. So I'd gone from shop to shop, and I finally got to the point where it's like, man, I think I'm going to be able to do this better than everybody else, which turns out I was kind of wrong in that. I mean, I struggled just as much as they did. But in that, I went to this thing called the Wholeheart Advance. It's a weekend. It's a weekend where guys go up into the mountains and they worship and they really work on inner heart issues. Well, before I left, I resigned from my job. I had a teaching job that was on the possibility of being on the hook through Intelitech. And my third option was going to be to start the automotive shop. And the fleece that we had laid down was if I had a full-time job at Intelitech, when I got back from this thing, then I would go and be a teacher. Well, when I get back, I've got a part-time job offer at Intelitech, so that we took that as like, let's go start our own thing. So my wife and I were sitting there, we're talking like, how are we going to start it off? What are we going to name it? All of those basic questions. And I had no idea. We were kind of workshopping ideas. And if my wife was here, she'd tell this story, but she says, he lays his head down on the pillow and I thought he was asleep. And then all of a sudden he goes, what about Faithful Service Auto? And she says, he scared the crap out of me because I thought that he was asleep. And it was like, yeah, that sounds like a good name. So that kind of stuck, but it was 100% a step out in faith. We didn't have two dimes to rub together and had absolutely no business starting our own auto shop. But it was like, hey, you know what? This is a good time to do it because we don't have kids. We really don't have a whole lot to lose. So let's start. I can always get another job as a technician. And God absolutely just took that and ran with it because there has been so many times along the travel of this business that it's been 100% faith and 100% he has backed this whole entire endeavor.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Jake, it actually leads me into the next question that I wanted to cover with you. There's a lot of challenges that people face when they're trying to start a shop, when they're running a shop in the day to day. And everybody's story always seems to have kind of these tough moments. And can you tell me a little bit more about kind of some of those tough challenges along the way and how you reacted and how your faith and how your business and how do we get here on the other side of some of those tough challenges and maybe before we're going to get to the next ones?
So at the very beginning, because of the fact that it was a step out in faith, we had a lot of Most of the answers were through prayerful consideration, and just I've got a group of guys that I shoot a text message to and say, hey man, I need some prayer. Could you pray for me? And one of the first ones that comes to mind, and I always love telling this story. We had this GMC pickup truck came in here, really nice customer. It was through extended warranty, so we started doing the work. It ended up needing a fuel injector, so I took the cylinder head off, put a fuel injector in it. Something happened with the cylinder. It popped the lifter. That's what it did. The lifter came apart. So we pulled the cylinder head, put the cylinder head back on. And when I put the cylinder head back on, I put the injectors in, and one of the injector tips came off and broke off inside of the cylinder head and just absolutely wreaked havoc. It
Oh
was
man.
terrible. And I'm sitting here, shop owner. We don't have the money to be able to stand in the gap for this customer. I can't tell the customer that it was wrong beforehand because it was my mistake. So we prayed about and we tried to figure out how we were going to come up with the money to pay for this engine. And I just so happened to reach out to extended warranty and tell them the whole entire story completely clearly and didn't pull any punches. And they said, yeah, we're going to cover the motor and we're going to supply you a motor. And that was after praying. And I just broke down at that moment in time because it was like, I don't know how we would have, that probably would have sunk us because we were so new and so like you don't start off in the positive when you start an auto shop. You start off in the negative and then you got to work your way to the positive. So we're still in the negative, we're still pushing as hard as we can, and this thing happens. And it was like God just shined through the clouds and was like, dude, I got you, don't worry about it.
Yeah. And for any of the shop owners that are listening, or anybody who's been in the industry for any length of time, they're going to know those extended warranty companies are not exactly known for just writing checks if they can find a way to get out of them. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
really awesome, man. That's great when God just kind of comes through like that for you and He covers you. That's fantastic. So the next place I want to go with this is, where do you find your passion in this industry? There's so many different kind of nuances and niches within our own independent auto repair space of the world. Where's your passion at as a shop owner and for the industry at large?
I think my passion is I really enjoy working with the customers. I really enjoy building relationships with the customers. That's I think are the biggest thing that you can do, the best thing you can do is just building a relationship with the customer so you're not just seeing them once every once in a while, that you can interact with them outside of work, whatever else, so that this is the person that they trust and they go to. I think that kind of leads into the fact that there are unfortunately a decent amount of people that take advantage of people in this industry, and being able to kind of steer people in the right direction. There's a ton of really good shops out there. We're not all crooks, but just being able to guide people in the direction that's like, hey, you know what, yeah, they sound like they're accurate, they sound like they're right, but having that relationship with the person that you're able to inform them of those decisions, and having the hard conversations sometimes too, because that's anybody that's in the industry knows and understands that there's sometimes where you run across a car or something that ends up they haven't taken care of it or whatever else, and it's just unfortunately you have to have a conversation with the customer that's sometimes not pleasant.
Yeah. And so, what's your approach to those conversations that aren't pleasant, and your approach to kind of managing that in the day to day, kind of from a high level perspective?
My approach, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not here to sell anybody anything. I can be a counselor, I can be a coach if I think that there's a solution that might benefit you. But I found the best way to do it is to do it without emotion. Try to have empathy for them, but without emotion, from a standpoint of like, look, you asked me the question about your car. I'm going to find out something that you're not going to like the sound of. I'm here for you to try to help guide you through this situation and try to get us to the other side. But I think a lot of it's just that disconnection of being able to say, look, we're here. A lot of times before you have a customer that comes in and you've got an inspection or something that you ask them beforehand, hey, do you want us to inspect your car? And then I always preface it with, look, you asked for this. I'm good at my job and I'm probably going to find some stuff that you didn't think was wrong with your car. And we'll just figure out from there where to go. Like what here to ask questions and stuff. I do not fear sell, and I hate people that fear sell because I've seen some broken down cars driving down the road and they are doing just fine and haven't killed anybody. So we don't need to have this fear sales mindset. It's like, oh, your wheel's gonna fall off. No, it's not. It is not. It's making some noise. You might want to think about doing it here soon, but we're not there yet. So
Yeah, I think that's a really great point that you touched on too, where just because it turns up in a DVI when you're doing the inspection for the customer doesn't mean that we have to hard sell everything. And I think that's all that the customer is asking for too on their end is just a little bit of honesty and transparency of, is this something that's urgent? Is it something that can wait a few months? Or is this like if we have some extra money and we just want to be really on top of it kind of a situation? And it sounds like you guys are really taking that approach to heart, which is awesome. So, for all of our listeners who don't know, Faithful Service Auto has a great reputation in Colorado Springs. Their customers were really pleased with their work, and that's part of why we wanted to invite Jay on the call. Is specifically because there's no better barometer or no better gauge to measure a shop than whether or not the customers like you and want to support your business and want to put you up for stuff like this. So you're doing great on that end of things. And we really appreciate that just for all of us that love the industry. So the next place I wanted to go is talking about what's working for you right now. What's some advice that you could give to somebody that is maybe struggling with something or stuck in the industry? And what have you found that's really working for you right now, either to help keep the bays full, to help keep texts coming in, just any good piece of general advice?
I mean, I hate to say it, I don't really have any good advice on that on a lot of those things. I mean, yeah, just be a good boss. Be a person that you would want to work for as far as having techs here. I'm not the expert as far as that's concerned. And then as far as having cars in the bay, we've always just worked off of word of mouth. We've tried a couple of advertisements, but most of the time word of mouth tends to work for us. Anytime we've thrown any money, any extra money at advertising, it's usually you'd be better served as just going outside and throwing your entire wallet up in the air and letting the wind take it. So that's we tried a couple of mail marketing things and that didn't work. I think we got an oil change off of it. It's always just been do the right thing, and it that seems to work the best for us when you really focus, and like that, about that being me, when I really focus on trying to do the best job I can for every single customer and try to come alongside my guys and help them help with the customer, because your employees are so important. They're the ones that are doing a lot of the work in the back. So why wouldn't you come alongside them? Because their success is your success. If they're not successful, you're doing something wrong. Every product problem is a leadership problem, and that's where the Jocko Willick actually always says, "There's no bad teams. There's only bad leaders," and that's the most true statement ever. Because typically anytime that I've ever screwed the pooch on a technician or how to manage an employee, it's been my goof up. It's because I'm not spending enough time and energy trying to figure out how to make them the most successful person as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. I think if you're taking care of your employees, they'll take care of your customers. And if your customers feel like they're well taken care of and their problems are being solved, they're going to keep coming back. Obviously, from the marketing perspective, I will be very honest and tell everybody word of mouth is always going to be king. You can never outrun a bad reputation with good marketing, and vice versa. If you want your marketing to be good, it all starts with your reputation. And that's something where we really see that coming through with all of the owners that we talk to on this podcast, is that it really comes down to a foundation of a solid reputation, and everything builds off of that. And it sounds like that's working well for you as well. So you touched on every problem is a leadership problem, and you touched on Yako. I'm curious what other resources you've got that have helped develop you as a leader, and what you're doing to kind of help develop shop culture amongst your team as you guys have grown.
I feel like the majority of what I've been doing is the school of hard knocks. It's making the wrong decision and finding out afterwards that was the wrong decision. I mean, just reading leadership books. That's Jocko Willick is one of my favorite guys. There's also, I forget the author's name, but he just released a book. It's called The Need to Lead. That's another really good one. And just really trying to lead that and take ownership of stuff that, I know I'm not a great leader. So I've got to learn how to be a great leader, and you don't do stuff unless you spend time doing stuff. So like the more you do something, the better you get at it. Even if you fail, you're the only real failures are the ones that walk away. The only guys that if you throw in the towel and you're like, you know what, I'm done with this. Well, you just failed. If you fell over or you got punched in the face or you got whatever, just keep moving towards the goal that you're aiming for and say, hey, well, I guess that's maybe not the way to do something. I just learned a new lesson in leadership. And unfortunately, those are the ones that ring the most, that remind me the most of what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, is the times that I think back and I'm like, you know what, that I could have handled that situation so much differently.
Yeah. And it's hard when we got to learn hard lessons the hard way. Part of the purpose behind the podcast here is we're trying to help open-minded shop owners learn some of these hard lessons from other people's mistakes and not have to make them on their own. So that's awesome. I appreciate the candid answer and sharing the truth. So for all of the listeners, The Need to Lead, it looks like was written by Dave Burke. Does that sound familiar?
That sounds familiar. Yep.
All right, perfect. So for anybody out there looking for good resources, Jocko Willink and Dave Burke have some good books. So that's awesome. The last thing I really wanted to kind of touch on, or one of the last things, is if you could give your younger self some advice, what would you tell you? For anybody that's watching this or listening to this that might feel especially like they're relating to you especially well, what would you tell a younger you?
Spend more time and energy on the things that you don't enjoy, and work better to get better at them. And don't give yourself excuses, because that's my history is riddled with excuses as to why I wasn't good at something. And the more I look at it, the more I think, well, that's just because you didn't try. You just gave yourself the excuse that you're bad at that particular thing when you didn't really focus or try on it. So for me, it would be, and I try to bring this into my kids too, is like, it doesn't seem like this matters right now, but later on in life, it's going to matter. The more time and energy that you put into things that you're not good at, the more rewarding things happen. Easy things don't often yield results that you remember. Hard things you usually remember when you've learned a hard lesson or when you've spent a lot of time working on something. Ask somebody that runs ultra marathons or does something that takes a lot of time and energy and push. And if that doesn't feel rewarding after you get done running 250 miles, well, that's why they do it. But it sucks. It's not a fun situation. So just work harder at the things that you don't enjoy doing, and you'll reap the benefits of somebody that actually works, somebody that tries.
Yeah, that that's fantastic. That no excuses mindset, I think almost every business owner should probably learn to adopt that and learn to do the hard things and focus on the things where they feel like those are their weaknesses. And anything we can do to try to transform those weaknesses into strengths are that's just going to make us all stronger. So fantastic. And then the final question, I would be absolutely remiss as the owner of Honest Mechanic Marketing if I did not ask you, in your opinion, what does it mean to actually be an honest mechanic or run an honest shop?
That's a good question. I think the majority of what it is not holding anything back, not pulling any punches. If you've got something that went wrong on a customer's car, own it, fix it, and take care of it. Don't play favorites. Don't put people in front of other people. Just do your job to the best of your ability. And mistakes happen, right? Stuff breaks all the time. Just own it. Just as a business, eat the cost of that part that you broke instead of trying to glue it back together or not tell the customer, fix the problem. And at the end of the day, they're going to be happy because they told you. You're not going to lose any face because you told them. You're not going to lose any face because you told them. You're not trying to cover something up. Just fix it. Teach your mechanics to come to you with problems, and instead of coming down their throat, just say, hey, yeah, crap happens. Let's fix it and get it taken care of. Get this customer back on the road.
That's fantastic, man. I couldn't agree more. The radical transparency there is a big part for me about that honesty piece as well. It's really hard to call yourself honest if you're not willing to open up the book a little bit and show the client exactly what happened. And what I find is most clients who've ever tried DIY fixing anything themselves, they know stuff breaks. They're fine
Yeah.
that it broke. They're not fine if you hide it from them.
Yeah.
So that's excellent, man. I really appreciate that. For anybody here that wants to connect with you, wants to learn more about you and your story and your company, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably Facebook, or you're welcome to come to the shop and I'll have a conversation. That's fine too. I don't really have a big online presence. I kind of consider myself a little bit old fashioned. I don't really see the benefit of a Twitter, or everybody's got a voice and everybody's trying to shout it from the mountaintops. And I'm just trying to do my thing and live my life to the best of my ability with my circle. I don't really honestly care what anybody thinks of me. Not to be callous, but the world doesn't need to know that Jacob Clark exists. The world is doing just fine, and I can just do my thing and be happy and sleep great and enjoy my kids instead of being worried about what that last tweet that I put out was, or is it X now? I don't know. It's changed names so many times, but whatever that latest post that I put, how many people read the post? Well, I don't care. That's not I got my wife and my kids are hugely important to me. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're the only people that know that I exist on this planet, that is fine with me.
Well, that's great and an excellent mentality. I, for one, am happy that it's more than just your wife and kids that get to know you. I've really enjoyed our conversation, man. I think we hit on some really good topics, and I want to give you the opportunity. Any parting words or anything that we didn't cover that you want to share that you think would be helpful for other shop owners or industry professionals?
I would just say take the step, take the leap. It's worth it. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life, to start my own business. And it gives you something you can be proud of, and you can help other people. So, I mean, that would be the thing. If you're on the fence about if it's going to be profitable or if you're going to be able to make it, if you try hard enough, you'll make it. It's scary, it's hard work, but it's totally worth it.
That's fantastic, man. I can absolutely agree. Take the leap. It's worth it. Step out on faith, like you said earlier. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I think God will have you covered. I think your community will have you covered. I think your family will have you covered. However you believe, this industry is filled with good people like Jake. And I think that there are people out there that are going to want to help make sure you stay covered and help you with your journey. So, Jake, thank you so much for taking the time and the conversation today. And yeah, that's it, man.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
If you get drawn in too many different directions, you can't be very good at any of those things. As long as you are taking care of your employees, that's my job as the owner, right? Is I got to take care of my employees and I got to take care of my customers.
Are open and transparent with them that you can save that money on recruiters and use it to pay your team.